Hello Space Cats, you lovely people. I just wanted to say a huge thanks after all the lovely messages and words of advice that I got from last week's video. If you've just stumbled across this channel, where have you been? My name is Jules and I write and illustrate children's books, mainly picture books for the 3 to 6 year olds, and this channel I have got tons of advice if you are just starting out on your children's book journey. More so lately I have been journaling my art journey, mainly because it's so darn good for your mental health and I surely need a bit of that at the moment. If you like that sort of thing, then do stick around and subscribe, because then I'll pop up on your feed more regularly. Now, to business. I was really inspired by a photograph I saw of the Northern Lights. Now, I live in the bottom part of the UK and we hardly ever, well, never get to see the Northern Lights. Apart from, fairly recently, there was some kind of weird anomaly out there in the atmosphere that meant that people in Cowes, which is the north part of my island, actually did get to see the Northern Lights. There were photographs. I saw the evidence. However, I was asleep. Anyway, I recorded some audio as I was painting to explain what I was doing and why. But in between, I will speed up the process so you don't have to watch paint dry, literally. I've got 3 colours lined up here for the sky. They're all Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolours. I've got intense phthalo blue, indigo, which is a bit darker, and sepia. First job is to get this bit where the sky is going to be nice and wet with just a big brush and some water. What I'm intending to do is this lower section here, which is where the mountains meet the sky, that's going to be a lot lighter because that's where the light from the Northern Lights is going to be radiating upwards. So I'm going to start up the top here with a very dark. I'm going to add the indigo, which is, that's all it is on this brush at the moment. Build the colours up, and a bit of that phthalo blue in the middle. Then I'm going to clean my brush off and just put some more water on the edge of that so that it can run down a little bit. Clean brush again. Going back in with the indigo because I want it to be really dark up the top here so that the stars can show really well. And I'm also going to put in a little bit of that sepia in the edges. Just going to take the tube of indigo and I'm just going to run that along the top here. Get my slightly smaller tapered brush with just water on it. And then just dropping water straight onto the page. And I'm also going to just flick water from my brush straight onto it to give it some texture. Okay, that's it for now. I'm just going to let that sit and do its thing whilst it dries. I can now go along these mountains because this little bit here is dry, so it's a bit wetter further up the picture, so I'm just going to do this bit. And the mountains, I want them to be going, I want there to be a very distinctive feel to the way that the energy lines are running in this picture. So in the sky they're going to be going up and down because that's the way that the Northern Lights are shining. They're not going to be ones that are ribboning across the sky like that. They're going to be going up and down. The mountains, I want them to be coming down at this sort of angle, running sort of slightly diagonally. And then down in the bottom here, these are going to be going towards the house. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm just going to pick up my brush, which has got some, I've made a sort of greyish, browny greyishness. Lots of water, a little bit of that indigo. I'm just going to pick up a few different colours. I'm going to let that dry for a few minutes. It's really important as you're trying to wait for your paint to dry, if you look down slightly sideways, so your head is almost flat to the table, you'll be able to see where the shiny bits are, and the shiny bits are the bits that are still wet. So I can see that all across the bottom edge here is dry, and just here is still damp at the moment. So I'm good to go with these two bottom bits and the house and the pathway. I have my trusty Inktense pencils here, made by Derwent. I've got golden yellow, deep rose, hooker's green and deep violet. First thing I'm going to do, the yellow, is just put a little bit of light in the window down here. And now I'm going to tackle those northern lights. So I think it's going to be using some of this yellow. I'm just using it dry pencil onto dry paper at the moment. I'm just going to build up the colours. Now this might not look particularly dramatic at the moment, but once we put the water on, it really will start to look a lot more saturated and a lot more dazzling. Time to get the paintbrush out. I'm just going to use a little one to start with. Some clean water. And the trick is to keep cleaning your brush so that you're not muddying those colours. I'm going to add a little bit more yellow along this bit here because I just feel like it just needs to go that way just a little bit more. And so that it doesn't look like it's a forest fire coming over the horizon, I'm going to add some more of the other colours as well. Now that I've built up a lot more of that colour, and I'm quite happy with the way it's looking, I'm going to put some on the roof so that it's a bit like a reflection of the sky. So I'm going to do it a mirror image. So yellow from the top down. And I also need to just put a little dob of water on that window just to saturate that colour. And once that little window is dried, I might just put a little curve of dark in the edges just to show that there is some depth to that house. I also need to do something about that little tiny door there, so I'm just going to pick up a tiny bit of dark colour. And I'm also going to go just back into the mountains just to put a little bit of definition, perhaps down some of those edges of ridges. Now for some stars. Hey folks, if you are as excited about books and art as I am, then you might be interested in these courses that will teach you what I know. Make a Picture Book Step by Step will help you go about writing, illustrating and publishing your own picture book. It's a comprehensive course starting with making your key decisions and takes you all the way to making your print-ready copy. Do you need to know how to draw children, or dragons, or sea creatures? These shorter classes will help you do just that. Pop over to my website and see what's on offer. Go on, give it a go. If you want to make a picture like this, there is another way to do it, and that is to have the landscape part on one piece of paper and then cut around that sort of wiggly line of the mountains, and then do the sky on a separate bit of paper and then glue the two together. Painting skies really is so adaptive, you just can't go wrong. Next week I'll be painting and drawing a squirrel's pantry. You know, as you do. Until then, I'm off to gnaw on a gnat's knuckle. I will see you next week. No.